Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is part 3 of a mini-series that is all about how to build a brickworks, or a place that makes different types of bricks, in your own Minecraft world. Just like my video on building Egyptian pyramids, I'm gonna walk you through the main choices that you're gonna need to make when building a brickworks. And the first choice to make is what kind of bricks you're making in this brickworks. Now this choice has appeared both in episode 1 and in episode 2, and it's also gonna appear in episode 4 because we're talking about different types of bricks. As I said in episode 1, we're gonna be covering mud bricks, fired bricks, concrete bricks, and compressed earth blocks in this mini-series. So let me give you a brief description of what they all are. Also, if you didn't catch episodes 1 and 2, I've linked to them in the info cards, and I've linked to the playlist down in the description below. Mud bricks are made out of mud and a binding material, which is usually something organic like straw or rice husks, and mud bricks are dried in the sun until they become solid enough to build with. Fired bricks are made of clay or shale, and they're fired in a kiln. These bricks are the thing that most of us picture in our mind when we think about bricks, and Minecraft's brick item and bricks block are both really good examples of fired bricks. And then there are also concrete bricks. Concrete bricks aren't fired, they're actually cured, and they're made out of sand, gravel, and cement. Concrete bricks are the strongest bricks in this series, but they also have the most difficult resources to get, so we'll get to that in this episode. And the last main category of brick that we're going to talk about in this series, there are lots and lots and lots of different types of bricks, but the last one that we're going to talk about in this mini-series is compressed earth blocks, or sometimes called pressed earth blocks, which are often abbreviated as CEB or CSEB, but go with CEB, compressed earth blocks. Compressed earth blocks are made from fairly dry subsoil, which is soil underneath the ground that we walk on, so it's below all of those root systems. And that subsoil often gets mixed with clay or sand or sometimes even cement, and then a machine that's specially designed to make compressed earth blocks presses all of that together at a really high pressure to make a compressed earth block. In this episode, we're going to be talking about concrete bricks and the choices that you're going to need to make that only apply to making a concrete brick factory. So choice number 2 is, why have you chosen to make concrete bricks? Concrete bricks are a type of chemically set brick, which sounds really complicated and official, but it's actually not that complicated. If you saw the last episode about fired bricks, I mentioned how firing the bricks changes their chemical structure so that the silica and such starts to form glass inside the brick. With chemically set bricks, the minerals in the bricks change their chemical structure when they're being mixed together, so they don't actually need heat to change the chemical structure. So let's use a Minecraft example, okay? So to make concrete in Minecraft, you craft 4 sand, 4 gravel, and whatever colored dye you want. Let's use some red dye to make red concrete powder. Once we mix that powder with water, the block changes to concrete. It doesn't need any heat to turn into concrete. It just has a chemical reaction with the water and goes from concrete powder to hardened concrete. There's a lot more to making concrete in the real world, but this recipe is actually pretty accurate for what concrete is. Concrete bricks are made from a type of dry cement that's been mixed with sand and gravel. So let's talk about what cement is first. Cement is made by heating limestone and clay in a kiln to form something called clinker, which is just lumps of clay and limestone that have been fired in a kiln. That's just the name for it. Cement makers will then grind the clinker down into a fine powder and add a bit of gypsum to it to make cement. If you mix the cement with some sand and gravel, you'll get concrete powder like we have in Minecraft. And then when you add water and you let it cure, you get concrete. So like I said, the Minecraft recipe is pretty accurate. Concrete bricks are really sturdy bricks, and they can handle a lot more pressure than fired bricks or mud bricks. The downside is that they need a lot more materials like limestone and clay and sand and gravel and gypsum. It's a lot. But if you're building something like a skyscraper, concrete bricks will probably hold up better than fired bricks or mud bricks. Although, that being said, there is this really cool city in Yemen called Shibam, and I apologize if I have totally mispronounced that name. But it is an entire city of mud brick skyscrapers, and it's really, really cool. So, I'm talking about how mud brick might not be great for skyscrapers or high-rise buildings, but Yemen has proved me wrong. So maybe it could work elsewhere. This is just such a cool site, you guys. I had to talk about it. So I'm saying all of this in part to tell you a little bit about concrete bricks, but mostly because there's gotta be a reason that you have chosen to build a concrete brick factory instead of a fired bricks brickworks or a mud bricks brickworks. Maybe concrete bricks are just the standard building material where you're building, or maybe you're building lots of really tall buildings in a city-style build. Whatever your reasons are for choosing concrete, keep those in mind as you go through the rest of these choices so that the decisions you make all tie together in the end. So the next choice is, where are you getting the materials for your bricks? Concrete bricks are made from a type of dry cement mixed with sand, gravel, and water, like I mentioned earlier. Most concrete bricks in the real world are made using something called Portland cement, which is made by heating limestone and clay in a kiln, like I said, until they form clinker, and then adding a bit of gypsum and grinding all of that down into a powder. So let's start with getting the limestone let's start with cement, and let's start with getting the limestone for the cement. We don't have limestone in vanilla Minecraft, but limestone is mostly made out of calcite and aragonite. And while we don't have aragonite in Minecraft, we do have calcite. So maybe set up a calcite quarry along a calcite strip in some stony peaks. I really liked the idea of this quarry being up here in the mountains and then sending the calcite down to the city below with a minecart. You could also use geodes for calcite, and that might be easier for your build, but if you want it to look like this is a large-scale operation, maybe go for the calcite strips instead. On the other hand, it'd be pretty cool to have a geode mining industry that moves every so often to another geode, a little bit like geode-specific wandering traders. That sounds really cool, so you know what? You do you. Once we have the calcite, we're also going to need clay to make clinker. It's limestone and clay. So we're back to building a clay pit. I have built so many clay pits, but yeah, just find an area where there's clay. You could do a clay pit along a river, or if you wanted to, you could build a clay mine in a lush cave. But having talked about limestone/calcite and clay mining, if you're not super keen on building the entire cement industry on top of your concrete factory, maybe just build some way of your concrete factory getting cement, like a truck delivery of a bunch of shulker boxes or something. So to make concrete, we have cement. We're now going to need some sand and some gravel. So for sand, I would say just build a sand quarry out in a desert somewhere and have them ship it to wherever you're making concrete bricks. That just seems like the easiest thing to do. You could maybe set up an entire trade route where there's a town in the desert that exports the sand to the concrete factory and they get something from wherever your concrete factory is in return for that. But you may also decide that setting up an entire system of long distance trade is quite a lot. You can also set up a gravel quarry in, it's the same deal, but maybe don't put it in a desert. Put it on a stony shores or a wind-swept gravelly hills biome. That's the official name of those mountains that have a lot of gravel in them. Also, if you're making different colors of concrete, it might be good to show where the dye is coming from for those different colors. So you could have a more manual situation with bone meal in a flower forest, or you could make a redstone flower farm depending on how industrial you want everything to feel. At this point, we have the materials, so next you're going to want to think about how all of these materials get turned into something you can make bricks out of. So let's start with cement, for those of you who want to build the cement industry too. If you are building everything to make cement on top of all the stuff for concrete, you should build somewhere where your limestone and your clay get fired into clinker. Believe it or not, actually, the same types of kilns that I talked about for fired bricks, the Hoffman kiln and the Bull's Trench kiln, those are also used to make lime. So just load in blocks of limestone instead of unfired bricks and you're good to go. I don't know if you could do this with clay as well, if you could use the Bull's Trench kiln to make clinker or the Hoffman kiln to make clinker, but this is Minecraft, and rather than having you build 7 different kilns, maybe if you want to show this process, maybe just build one of the kilns and have it process both the limestone and the clay. I will say, technically, I haven't seen any indication that you could use the same kiln for both firing bricks and making lime, alternating between the two different uses. And there was discussion of the kiln being adapted for making lime. So technically, if you wanted to do both, you might need 2 kilns. But also, this is Minecraft, and I would say this is a place where fun and sanity might take priority over accuracy. having built a lot of these kilns, they're so big. Anyway. Once we have clinker, we're still on cement, guys. Once we have clinker, you're going to want to build somewhere where that clinker gets ground down with gypsum into cement. Unfortunately, we really don't have a good substitute for gypsum in Minecraft, and it's made primarily with calcium, which is similar to limestone or calcite, but also sulfur. So sulfur, that doesn't exist in Minecraft, at least not in vanilla. I'm sure it does in Education Edition, but yeah. So we're just gonna pretend that there are deliveries of gypsum that happen that get mixed into the cement, because I can't find a thing that would actually work. So anyway, we're gonna want to build somewhere that clinker gets ground down with gypsum into cement. So if you're going for a small scale factory, a basin of like cut copper stairs would work really well here, just like I used for fired bricks. But if you want to get a bit more industrial with it, you could make a larger machine that's maybe the beginning part of a factory chain. So like this initial machine is the grinding machine that grinds down and mixes the cement material, and then the cement goes to another mixing machine that is where the cement and the sand and the gravel and whatever dye you're using get mixed together into concrete powder. And then after that, you're going to need to hydrate the mixture, which basically just means adding water. You're gonna add water to the mixture, because without water, that chemical reaction doesn't happen. So you could use the same basin that you use to grind and mix the dry ingredients to add the water to, or you could build something separate. It's up to you. I combined them because I felt like that was an easy way to do things. And at this point in the series, you've seen how many builds there are, and there are more to come. So I went with a relatively simple build. Next choice: where are you making your bricks? Where you get the materials for your bricks, where you mix and hydrate those materials, and where you shape and cure those bricks might all be in the same place, or it might be in different places. So for this industry, we've had a lot of gathering of materials away from the factory and being brought to the factory. The factory itself isn't sitting on one of these mines or quarries because there's so many of them. So while fired bricks were often made right next to the clay or shale quarry that was mining the materials to make the bricks, for concrete bricks, there are so many materials that it's better to have like a centrally located factory and everybody brings their materials to you. Also, a lot of concrete brick companies and just brick companies in general, especially modern ones, have a factory where the bricks are made and then some type of storage unit or warehouse or storefront where finished bricks are housed and ready to be sold. I've decided that I want to merge the store and the factory together in this build just because it was easier, but you might decide that you want to have a whole separate factory building that ships all of the finished concrete bricks out to a store that's closer to customers. Okay, this next one is an important question, and it's a bit of a difficult one in Minecraft. Well, it's not really, but you'll see. Are you going to show the brick texture of your concrete bricks? And if so, how are you going to do it? So unfortunately, in vanilla Minecraft, we don't have any concrete brick blocks. So if you want to keep building in concrete, you're gonna have to lose the brick texture. Or if you want to keep the brick texture, you're gonna have to build in something that isn't concrete. But a lot of bricks do get painted and plastered over, so you could add that into your lore if you wanted to. If you're not opposed to texture packs or resource packs, there is a concrete bricks texture pack that you could use if you want to keep the bricks texture. It just takes the stone or deep slate or blackstone style bricks texture and adds it to concrete bricks. You won't be able to have smooth concrete and concrete bricks at the same time because it changes the texture for the block, but if you'd rather have concrete bricks, you can use the texture pack. I've put the link to it in the description down below if you want to check it out. It looks really cool. Next question. What color are your bricks? The color of your bricks in the real world is going to depend on the materials that you used to make it in the first place, but as we've already kind of talked about with concrete bricks, you can have a whole range of different colors for concrete bricks. Black, white, grays, and browns are kind of the most common that I've seen, mostly because working dye into the concrete process, if you're just going to be plastering over the wall, there's no reason to have them be a specific color. But if you want your bricks to be like outward facing bricks and you would like them to be a certain color, you could absolutely have some really bright colors of concrete bricks. You can also use some of the other bricks blocks if you want a more earthy color or a less like in-your-face vibrant kind of color, but a lot of concrete blocks are actually similar sizes to the stone bricks textures, but you can also find concrete blocks that are closer to the size of like fired bricks if you wanted. The downside to using some of the other brick blocks though, as I've kind of mentioned already, is that you lose it being obviously concrete. So you'd have to work something into your lore or just pretend that it's concrete, or you could use the texture pack. How are you shaping your bricks? Just as there are a few different materials for brick making, there are also a few different ways that you can shape the bricks. The simplest way is by pressing it by hand into a wooden mold that's the desired shape and size. We've talked about this for mud bricks and for fired bricks, but you might be surprised to hear that this is also a way to make concrete bricks. You can just press it into a mold. A lot of people will do it so that they can scrape off the top, but that's definitely one way to do it. I've seen people do it, especially if they're building something on their own land, or they're maybe using concrete blocks as paving stones to make a path or something like that. If you're not using concrete bricks on an industrial level, then you don't necessarily need an industrial style molding situation. But if you are opting for an industrial style factory, you will probably want to build what's called a concrete block machine. These machines work by tightly packing wet concrete into molds using pressure and then removing the mold and taking the blocks out to cure. I've taken this footage from the Beasley Group machine and molding industry, or Best Machina for their brick making machines, because I thought it was a really good visualization of how these machines work. You can see that the concrete goes into all of the empty spaces in the mold, and then it drags back to get any excess out. But then another part of the mold pushes down so that that hollow square is actually like complete and goes all the way through. And then once those parts have been joined, the lower part of the mold lifts up so that you have the concrete blocks on the bottom. How cool is this machine? I thought this was a really great video showing how this works. I've also linked to their video down in the description below if you want to see a little bit more about how these machines work. Okay, this is going to be really interesting to show in Minecraft, but you know what? Let's give it a shot. This one is red. I don't think red is going to work. Actually, you know what? Let's do mangrove wood. Let's do it. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna work. We're gonna try it though. Okay, so we need a thing. Okay, all right. We need first off. I'm so confident, you guys. Can you tell? Oh my gosh. This one, I feel like this one is gonna be the hardest, just by far in terms of how to actually make it. And I don't think we're actually gonna get like the hollowed out bits in the middle. I don't know if that's possible in Minecraft to even like try to demonstrate that. They're taking the mixture from here. They need to put it into a thing probably on top or like a chute of some kind. They need to be able to dump it into the thing. I'm still slightly panicking. Okay, let's try polished blackstone, which is what I have there. Let's go up a couple of blocks, okay? And just do like generic basin stuff. It doesn't help going from there to here, but you know what? Whatever. Forget. Don't worry about it too much. Oh, this is deep slate. I'm calling it blackstone. Ignore me. I was like, wait a minute, that's not dark enough to be blackstone. It's fine. Everything is fine. I totally just grabbed the same block. If we've got that, do we even need the thing on top? I don't think we do. I think we're okay. I think we just do this. Okay, so this is where the cement is gonna go, or the concrete powder. Sorry, not cement. Concrete powder goes in there. The concrete needs to get shoved into a mold. Maybe we need the bucket to be higher. Okay, so we have the bucket. The bucket can push things into a mold. Okay, so there was something that I came up with earlier that was kind of cool. And we're gonna have yellow concrete as the block below. And then the thing that I figured out is that with a pressure plate, you can get that hollow look because it looks like a part of the mold. So we still have the yellow. If we do a spruce wood pressure plate and then they're the same color, this might be too close to the mold. Oh, okay, hold on. We can do this. So that works. That works pretty well, actually. So then if we have something up above it that would press down onto this, we don't have any blocks that are, maybe a wall. If we go back to our deep slate wall, we put that there, the deep slate wall would go down and press into the spruce pressure plate. doing kind of what we saw the machine doing, kind of. I mean, again, like we can't do that in Minecraft. I really wish we could. There's so many things I wish we could do in Minecraft. I'm a functional human, you guys. I know what I'm doing. Hold on, I'm a professional. Just hang on. Hold on. Professional at work. I'm gonna warn you all, I'm also recording this relatively late at night for like when I tend to record things. So if it sounds weird, now you know why. Okay, and then if we connect this, so we need some way that this is the thing that's going down into the mold, we need a way for that to be connected to the rest of the machine. Let's do upside down stair out to the side. And then if we do some more, like another wall here, this is unwieldy. This is really unwieldy. Change out a stair from the bucket and turn it into a block. Can we do that? Yes, we can. And then we put walls that connect them so that we can see that the bucket will come back out. I'm going to turn that into more of an arm. Can we do that? We could do that. That kind of shows... Oh, that kind of works. Now we're getting into like weird little arm territory. Would nether brick fence look better there? Maybe. Ooh, or instead of, okay, hold on. Maybe we just do, yeah, maybe we don't have grindstones for the bucket. We just use nether brick fences. And then, okay, all right, we're gonna swap some stuff. My goodness, you guys, like, I thought a pug mill was gonna be hard. This is so much harder to build. If any of you come up with ideas of what to do for this, please let me know. I'm so curious. And then if we maybe have like a cart, I really like doing this design for carts. It's just like a little 2 trap doors that open onto the same space, and then you have a top slab, and then you stick a fence gate into one side and open it so that it becomes the little handles for the wheelbarrow wagon kind of thing. And then we'll put a concrete thing on top of it. I think honestly that's the best we're gonna do without like using mods or armor statues or create mod. I think that might be the best we're gonna do. I don't think it's bad. I think we may have reached the point where we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. If you come up with better designs, please let me know. I would be so curious. Definitely show me your designs. At me with better designs, please. And the final choice that you're gonna need to make for concrete bricks specifically, there are more choices, don't you worry. The final one for concrete bricks specifically is, how are you curing your bricks? Concrete bricks aren't really fired or dried, they're actually cured. There are a few ways to cure concrete blocks, but let's talk about steam curing and wet curing because those are the main types that I've been seeing in my research. So for steam curing, once the blocks are shaped, they're placed on pallets and then put into a curing room. Brickmakers add warm steam to the room at about 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and they leave the bricks to cure for 2 to 24 hours. So for this, I would say build a room that can house as many bricks as you think your brickmakers can sell each day on average, because there's no need to have a larger curing space than that. But if you have a smaller curing space than that, then you're not going to be able to meet demand. Adding something heavy for a door might also be a good bet too. I really like using walls in Minecraft for heavy doors, but a double iron door could work here too. And then you might want to add some way for steam to be like pumped into the curing room itself. If you'd rather not go the steam route, concrete blocks can also be wet cured, which is where the bricks are soaked in a consistent amount of water for 7 to 14 days. That's honestly probably easier to build in Minecraft because you just need to stack the bricks outside and make sure that there's water nearby and then constantly water them for 7 to 14 days. I would say you might want to make sure that there's like good drainage channels in this area, just because there's going to be a lot of water and I don't know if you really want your water going everywhere, but it does take 7 to 14 days, whereas steam curing takes 2 to 24 hours. So you might decide that steam curing is more worth it. Also, speaking of resources, wet curing, if you're wetting these concrete bricks for 7 to 14 days, that is an awful lot of water. So if you live somewhere where water is scarce, steam curing might be the better option. So I definitely totally published this video without actually talking about being able to put a concrete farm inside your concrete factory, like a Minecraft concrete farm. So here's, you can definitely also put that in here. Just make the building big enough. You can do some really compact, like, concrete farms, at least the one that I've found. I'm going to link to the video that I used down in the description below. This one works in Java. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't work in Bedrock, but the video itself does actually say what you can do to make a concrete farm in Bedrock as well. The link is in the description. And believe it or not, that's it. You've got a concrete block making factory. You have made concrete blocks. Once they've cured for, between 2 and 24 hours or 7 to 14 days, your bricks, your concrete blocks, they're done. Next episode, I'm going to be talking about compressed earth blocks, but the episode after that, I'm going to be getting into the choices that apply to everybody, all of these brick making operations. If you missed my last episode on fired bricks, you can check it out right here. Or if you'd like to start from the beginning of the playlist, you can check out episode 1 on mud bricks right over here. That's all for me for today. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.